couple of things here I wanted to get to. Here's one. This will give you an idea. Some of these Republican-led states are warning workers that the workers will lose their unemployment benefits. They'll be taken away if the workers don't return to work when they are ordered to do so. Not by health officials, not by environmental or safety experts, but by these predatory Republican governors who do exactly what the capitalists tell them to do. The Post reports that Iowa and Oklahoma and other states are reopening soon, just like Georgia. We're about to take another great leap forward here on Monday. The malls are going to open. Oh, joy! I know. They've really got us in a vice, don't they? If you take a stand against these mega businesses opening, your stand also includes one against workers going back to work, right? Isn't that a mind fuck? I mean, anyway, these states that are reopening with this outbreak, this viral outbreak still on the upswing, they're issuing these early warnings to their worried workers. Return to your jobs or risk losing your unemployment benefits. Period. And the Post reports that these threats have been the loudest among Republican leaders here of late, which has to do with the anxiety that capitalism produces in people in this attempt to jumpstart the local economic recovery. 2 months after most businesses shut down in order to contain this viral attack. The Post says, in Iowa, for example, state officials even have posted a public call for companies to get in touch with the state if, quote, an employee refuses to return to work, end quote. Then what? What the fuck is the state of Iowa going to do? Lock them up? Is that what's going to happen? No, Mike, of course not. They'll just lose their unemployment benefits. Jesus Christ. And here's the part that is so irritating, because none of this has to be. For some of these states, the concern is that people who live in those states who are offered their old jobs back simply won't accept them. They may choose instead to keep tapping this historically generous unemployment aid. Historically generous? Give me a fucking break. Generous? If I'm a middle-class worker making $50,000 a year, I am supposed to assume that the state unemployment is $1,000 a week? Oh, horseshit. Where does this nonsense come from? That $2 trillion coronavirus relief package that the Democrats insisted on had nothing to do with the Republicans, nothing to do with that fucking maniac in the White House. But it was signed by Trump, had to be signed by that asshole back in March. That added to weekly benefit checks for out-of-work Americans who are out of work through, as usual, no fault of their own. And this speaks volumes about the capitalist system because of the because of the unemployment compensation, and because of the slight, in some cases more than slight, boost in those benefits because of that $2 trillion relief package. Some workers may be earning more now than they did when they were working. Jesus Christ. Why is that? Well, Mike, part of the reason is because most workers don't earn $1,000 a week. And when the unemployment comp comes out to $700 or $800 a week in certain states, compared to the wage the worker was making when he or she was busting their asses trying to earn a living and balance kids and school and all sorts of shit, who can blame a worker for saying, wait a minute, I'm supposed to go back into a virus-infected workplace with no guarantees that my health will be taken care of, no health insurance from my employer for some rotten fucking $12 an hour job when I can stay home and earn this? Come on. I mean, even back in the Nixon years, Nixon seriously talked about it. Matter of fact, it might have been his idea. I don't quite remember. I wasn't as focused on shit back then as I am now. But the idea of a guaranteed annual wage, what was it going to be? $12,000 a year, $1,000 a month. Guaranteed wage. That would keep the economy humming, wouldn't it? $1,000 on top of whatever else you made. Didn't make any difference. What happened to that idea? I'm sure capitalism took a look at that. Or the captains of capitalism took a look at that and said to Nixon, are you out of your fucking mind? We don't want that kind of worker. We can't manipulate that kind of worker. I mean, we're doing everything we can to destroy the unions. Jesus Christ, Richard, don't make it tougher. Now, of course, the business leaders say they desperately need workers to return to the stores and restaurants and other operations in order to stay afloat financially. Okay, I get that. But labor activists, people who have been struggling for worker rights, say that the reality is a lot more complicated than that. For example, some now unemployed Americans weren't making much money in the first place. So why should they risk their safety, their health, their lives just to return to these underpaid old gigs that they had? I mean, come on, what the fuck? Now capitalism wants the workers to not only slave until they fall into the fucking grave, but now let's get you into the grave quicker. You dumb shits. We need more money. We need, our hedge funds need some new assets. We need more money up here at the top 1/10 of 1%. Get the fuck to work. Labor activists say that in the process of trying to get people to return to these old underpaid gigs, some public comments have frustrated these federal bastards who work at the behest of the capitalists, because public health officials say forcing workers to return so quickly might be dangerous. Might be? And could undermine this half-assed national response we've had to this coronavirus, this pandemic to begin with. But if it's workers' lives involved, fuck them, right? Damon Silvers, Director of Policy and Special Counsel for the AFL-CIO, said, quote, these states, the ones who are insisting on this, are offering people the choice to endanger your life or starve. Endanger your life or be evicted. Endanger your life or not be able to provide for your children. Yep, that's capitalism. That's capitalism. And it doesn't take a fucking pandemic to make this incredibly obvious. Look at so many of the different occupations that people get involved in order to have the wherewithal to live their lives. Look at all the rules that have been passed through OSHA, through all sorts of federal agencies over the past 80 years to try to protect workers. And how many of these capitalist pigs ignored those rules? And then we have another 90 people suffocate and die in the bowels of a fucking coal mine. Or workers at an oil or natural gas plant or chemical plant that all of a sudden ignites and explodes. 15, 16 people dead. Or a platform in the Gulf of Mexico. Kaboom! Now, the truth is that generally, according to the Washington Post, states do have the legal right to revoke benefits if unemployed Americans are offered jobs comparable to their past positions and say, no, I don't think so. And in response to this pandemic, regulators have put in place some exemptions to protect people out of work because they're sick or caring for family members diagnosed with COVID-19. But what about the people who are out of work through no choice of their own and are not sick and are not caring for family members? Go back to work now, asshole, or we're going to take your unemployment check away. But I'm not sick. Yeah, we'll go back to work anyway and get sick if that happens and maybe die. God damn. Hey, Truth Seekers, while we're practicing safe social distancing, it's a great time to treat yourself with some seriously delicious, responsibly sourced coffee. Awaken to pleasure with River Moon Coffee. But don't take my word for it. Here are 2 recent reviews. Quote, we sell River Moon Coffee at Marine General Store, and I can't seem to keep up with customer demand. Not only is the coffee excellent, but the philosophy behind it, the careful sourcing and constant research to bring a quality product to customers, appeals to the hearts of our community. End quote. And here's one from a fellow Malloy listener. Quote, I love this coffee. I buy it in 5-pound bags. I especially love the Truth Seeker blend. End quote. Sounds like they're planning ahead for the apocalypse. Anyway, support a progressive small business that supports this program. Go to MikeMalloy.com and click on the River Moon Coffee link on the main page. You'll thank me later.